Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
All right. Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. Today I'm joined by Chris Mills, co-founder of Infinite Data and creator of EZCIP, helping public sector organizations simplify capital planning, improve transparency, and make better infrastructure decisions. Welcome to the show, Chris.
G'day, Tim. How are you? Nice to meet you.
All right. Nice. Yes, you're Australian.
Yeah, I am.
Excellent. Before we get into sort of your backstory and how you got into here, why don't you tell us what EZCIP is?
Yeah, sure. So EZCIP is a web-based application that really pretty much turns the mess of spreadsheets and documents for capital planning into an easy-to-use online system. It's pretty much what it is.
Okay, and but in the public sector that are usually your clients that you're trying to help and support are local government stuff. Is that here in Arizona? Is it national?
It's national. We actually range all the way like townships, smaller sort of local government, towns, cities, even to large counties as well. So we're got around just under 70 customers across the whole of the US. We do have some in Arizona. A couple we can call out. So your town of Jerome is one of our customers, and we love helping all different sizes. But we started out in small local government. I think it's a market that's a little bit underserved sometimes. Okay.
Now let's back up and figure. And why don't you explain to everybody where you're coming from and how you got into this space?
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, well, it started with me meeting an American lady. we ended up getting married back in the day and ended up moving to the States. So I worked for the city of San Jose for about 4 or 5 years, and I was a technology director in transportation. So I looked after everything in San Jose around transportation from a technology perspective. And one of the things that I really noticed was how difficult it was to procure software, get software vendors to do things. It was just everything was so difficult. It was like, we wanted to change one field in an application, and it was a $60,000 change order. And I was just sitting there. Yeah, I was sitting there going, there must be an easier way to do this. And then we came around the challenge of capital planning. We were planning out all of our projects, and we had to put a document together.
Right.
And we're sitting there, and this document's been going around, and it's literally a Word document being, I should be careful how I speak about the city, but there was a Word document going around, and everyone was updating it. It was getting messy, and someone said, "Hey, Chris, there's got to be a better way, right?" And I'm like, yeah, there does. And then pretty much over one meeting and a beer with my business partner, we went, you know what? He's like, he moved to another city, and he was like, yeah, I have the same problem here. And I'm like, why don't we do something about this?
Yep.
So the idea of EZCIP was born at that moment.
Solving problems. Boom.
Absolutely.
Providing value. I love it.
And during that meeting, and this is no joke, during that meeting, I created the website. He created the application in that meeting while we're having a couple of brewskis. So that came together, and then we put it on. We just put it on the web, and we got a call, and we're like, you know what? And I was out flying doing meetings, and I'm like, we've got to do a demo. And so we've had to pull this all together, and there's a lot of great things happening from that point. And that was about 7 years ago now, and now here we are.
Yes, this was just pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was. It's hard; those years sort of all blended together. But yeah, it was pre-COVID. We were based out of California in the beginning, but now I'm based in Arizona, and we incorporated in Arizona. So that's our base of operations right now.
Okay, and people found you right away because they have the same problem. They're looking for this. Exactly. This is utilities. Is it counties, cities, school districts?
Yeah, school districts, cities. Actually, school districts is a fairly new one. It's something that's been coming up recently that's very, very highly focused on how they're spending money right now. So school districts is a big one. And there's some really large ones. We just brought on a school district in Virginia that is the second biggest in Virginia, and it's they're managing $1 billion worth of money for capital projects across hundreds of schools. So and the way
there's a lot of waste in that too. I mean,
absolutely
reaching out to EZCIP probably helps solve their problem, but also probably saves them a ton. The time and money.
Yeah. And when we started out, we're like, you know what, let's just make this easy. Like, let's make the software really easy to use. And that was our focus. But then we realized it's beyond that. We need to make more than like procurement easy, make everything. So like, very difficult to buy software in the public sector, right? There's RFPs, there's all these kind of things going on. We just make it simple. We keep the price reasonable so that it's a lot of value. We've had a lot of learnings around that. But, you know, and because of the way that we build in our platforms, we're very agile. Like, companies will say they're agile. We literally got an email this morning from a customer asking for a new field, and we did it within 5 minutes. Yeah, nice. Like, that's just unheard of, and for no cost. Like, just their normal subscription costs, they ask us, we fix it. And because we love doing that, we feel like we're like a partner of them rather than like a software provider. So saying SaaS or software doesn't really cover what we do for them. You know, we work with them. Yeah.
Excellent. In my industry, for example, somebody will have an investment. Often, like a lot of the real estate stuff, they have these complex models. They do them still in Excel, which still blows my mind. Why do you think spreadsheet-driven processes persist for so long, even when everyone knows they're inefficient?
Everyone just loves Excel. One thing that so my business partner, he's the Excel finance techie expert guy, right? And I'm the more, information technology thinking, usability guy. Like we meld together really well.
Okay.
And he is an Excel expert. I am not, right? I'm searching for help on Excel, but he's an Excel expert, and we find people that that's mostly what they're coming to us from, right? They're using a spreadsheet, and as you know, you get stuck when you try to share it, when you try and get people to do multiple edits, and you get yourself, we've had spreadsheets that are 240 tabs long with a project.
That's not
a project in every tab,
and things are locked and unlocked, and things break, and you're.
And the great news is the way that we model it, every customer of ours has their own environment that we configure for their need. So we just say, hey, send me a spreadsheet. We'll build a proof of concept for you and show you what it looks like. We'll get that spreadsheet. We'll turn it around in 24 hours, and then they have an environment they could look at. And so, and the great thing is too, you know what it's like with these applications, right? When you go web applications, you want to run a report. You usually end up exporting that stuff to Excel and running your own reports, right?
Right.
So what we've done, we've built an Excel report template that connects to the API of the database, pulls the data across, and you can use Excel. So we make it as part of the solution because we know finance departments love it. People still love using Excel. So we've made it part of our solution, which is pretty interesting.
So when a public agency, is it all public stuff? Do you do?
It's all public. We have some private, like we have some people that are property managers, and they're managing large properties, and they've still got capital planning they need to manage, and then we can sort of customize a little bit. But majority of our customers, we're talking 98% of our customers are public.
Okay. Yeah. So when you improve their processing, you make it easy. But what changes practically? Right? Is there better budgeting? Do you have like numbers on that? Do you have any better transparency, better public trust and stuff for those types of institutions?
That's a really, really good question. Usually the first thing that changes is instead of one person managing a spreadsheet, it now becomes an organization-wide product, right? So, so it improves.
People can see what their role does
what
for
they're
the whole
doing.
system.
Yeah. So now it becomes a process. Managers, project managers or department leads submit their projects in the system. The finance team reviews the project, makes comments on it. Maybe something needs to change. So it improves all that efficiency. Before it was either here's an email and they've got to try and bring that all together. The other thing that it changes is there's one button to press to create your CIP book. So most organizations will release a CIP book that says, okay, here's the next 5 years of capital planning. Here are the projects we're doing. That's a huge thing to build. Once it's in the system and the data's in there, press a button. Our system will collate all that information into a template that matches what the customer needs for their branding, and boom, it gets created. Our CIP managers, our finance directors love that feature because now it's just pressing a button and it's done. It improves collaboration. It cuts down the time to create these CIP books, and because it's built for their data, it feels customized for them, so they're comfortable and it's easy to use.
Right. Well, yeah, many users are not very technologically savvy, so that's
Yeah.
probably very appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And, from the finance side, that's not my background. Like, I'm an IT guy. My partner has a finance background, but so for me, I need it to be easy too, right? So when I look at it, I need to understand where things are. So, usually the structure is you have a project and then you have your your funding and then your spending, right? So it's going to be funded from a grant. It's going to be funded from a general fund. It's going to, multiple funding sources. And then you record how you're going to spend that money. We're going to spend it on, consulting. We're going to spend it on the build. We're going to spend it on planning. And so then you can see your source and use of funds across a project.
Sure. Super awesome. It's a lot of systems are already in place, and these legacy systems, right? Is that one of the bigger hurdles? Because when I talk to a lot of people I talk to on the show, and my wife's a physician, and I talk to people in this space, the electronic medical records and all that legacy stuff is the biggest hurdle and the biggest barrier to modernizing and fixing the system.
Yeah.
It's just too big. It's just too hard to work with. Is that a barrier for you?
Yeah, most public sector organizations are using some kind of large ERP or a budgeting system, and many of them, one, don't like accessing those systems, find it very difficult to use those systems, or they're in the middle of big implementations with these huge ERPs and huge systems that take 12 to 18 months and millions of dollars to implement. Right?
Yeah.
So what happens is the finance group we generally work with finance or public works. They're generally in charge of this capital plan that they're doing in a little silo apart from all that. They may use inputs from there, but it's a whole separate process that they end up creating their own spreadsheets for. And they'll cross-check the numbers. So, yeah, absolutely. And what we find is a lot of these ERPs and big systems like that don't manage capital planning very well, because that's not their focus. Like, that's a little add-on they put on, and over time, there wasn't, back in the day when we started, they didn't look at it at all, but now they're starting to add those features on. But what we're finding is, that they're just not built for purpose. So that's the need. We stick in that capital improvement niche, and that way we can make sure that we touch on all the things that these systems can't do. And a lot of times, because they're running it separately, they can just stand this environment up. We do have environments where we connect into those systems. There might be an ERP in PeopleSoft that brings information into our system nightly. So we have the capability to do those kind of connections. That obviously gets a little bit more complex, but some, probably 10% of our customers do that API connection.
Okay. Thought it might be more, but 10%.
There's a lot of. So yeah, that's a really good point, actually, Tim. There's a lot of old systems that connectivity is very difficult. Okay. Like, our systems are modern, it's got REST APIs, that type of thing, right? But a lot of the customers are using these old budget systems that they just don't have those connectors, or creating those connectors is very difficult or very expensive. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's pivot a little bit and talk about starting your own company and the challenges associated with that, and maybe just start there.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I've definitely learned a lot, and obviously being in the States from Australia, a lot of things are different. So when we got together originally, we were, our goal was to fund it ourselves. So we pretty much went into our pockets and built this thing. We were like, you know what, we don't really want investment. We don't want to get in debt. Let's try and build this and scale the way we can. So,
nice.
So the way we did that was, we were both working full-time jobs, right? Both the founders, and we're doing this at nights and on weekends. And I'm sure that's very similar to many startups and many, people, what they're calling vibe coding now. We were doing that back in the day. Like, we didn't call it vibe coding, but we were just building and doing interesting things. Over time, our goals were, let's get enough customers and support that one of us can move full time. And my partner did that 4 or 5 years ago. And just this year, I've turned into full time, being part of the company. So we're now,
nice.
Yeah. So that was sort of a goal. That was a goal of ours. And now we're thinking about what are our next goals, right? And And really, it's been awesome because now I can actually just focus full time on, working with our current customers, just, being helping them do more with the product, and just get more ideas from them to help build it out even better. Because the products evolve too. As we've evolved, this product is just, because when a customer asks for something new, we usually build it for them. And then we're like, okay, here, we can do this for you now. So we've got some great stories around features that this thing has built over time because our customers have needed it.
Right. Okay. What surprised you the most about building a company around a specific public sector problem?
Yeah, that's a good question. What surprised me the most? I think what surprised me the most was what was the features that people were asking for, and that, one example, South Lake Tahoe has been a great customer of ours from the very beginning. A great town. That's the other great thing about us. We have some beautiful cities and towns around the country. And South Lake Tahoe, Jim Moreno over there was running public works. He's now moved on to the Tahoe Transportation District, but he was doing a very complex rating system of projects where he'd ask many questions and it would be weighted and it would come out with a ranking system. Okay. Before that, we had, low, medium, high priority. It was simple.
Sure.
And he said, you know what, could you put this in the application? And we looked at the spreadsheet and we went, you know what? Yeah, we can do that. And so we built that out. And now nearly every customer we talk to wants a rating system or wants to have an idea.
They only have so much money and so many projects and they need to figure out how to prioritize them.
And some of them are very complex. City of Fairfield, we work really closely with in California. They have a very complex question answer type thing. And so that's the kind of thing that surprised me, in that we, one, we're able to do that where, I know what it's like, these big consulting firms, if you ask them to build something out like that, they're like, oh yeah, we've come in and this is going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars in consulting fees to work out what you want. And then we're going to build it and you're not going to like it. But we just like, show me a spreadsheet, or we say, here's one we've built. What do you think? And then we just configure it for them as they ask for features. So probably that's the biggest thing, is like all the new things that were built in. During COVID, it was ARPA funding, right? So tracking ARPA funds. And then there's bonds and grants management, all these great things that have come in over time that we never even thought about in the beginning.
Sure. It's your example though is a good, makes a good point about the information required for better decisions. Mm-hmm. It's not just a budgeting software or something, it's project crafting.
Yeah, it is. And we have some, we have people come from different, I guess, maturities of where they're at, right? There'll be some customers that literally aren't planning at all. They just have a list of projects. They have next year's budget. And then they want to start looking the next 5 years. We've got other ones that are actually doing 5-year planning, but it's in a spreadsheet that's very difficult to share and track and things like that. So they come from different maturity. And then we have ones that have big, complex systems that don't work or they've built themselves and they want to move on to something. And then, so we're moving systems.
Grown into Frankenstein monsters that they can't control.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And, we say to our customers, we're your IT team when it comes to this application. You contact us, we build what you need, we change what we take away what you don't, we change what you want. So it's an evolving thing. It's not like you get a piece of software and you just have to try and work out how to use it.
Okay, very cool. So for entrepreneurs who are listening, what advice would you give them about finding a niche problem, right? That's painful enough to build a business around.
Yeah, I think, one, it helps if you've experienced that problem. Like both of us founders had both experienced the challenges, and we were looking for a product. Look at what other people are doing. We saw another company out there that had a solution out there that we saw, but it wasn't really perfect. And we were like, you know what? We can do that too. So don't be afraid to look at what other people are doing and adopt those changes. And like, it's easy to talk about it and think about it, but it was like that night when we had this idea, we were like, let's build it now. Let's just put it out there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay is good. Start off small. And then just learn things along the way, or you might not start at all, right, Tim? I think
that's a big lesson. Good point. That's something I struggled with, being a neuroscientist, very, very detail oriented, right? And I wouldn't say perfectionist, but analytical, right? To the point of paralysis and all that. And so it's never going to be perfect, right? There's good enough, and you just make refinements as you go.
And my business partner is a bit more like that than me as well. Like he will think things through, and I'm like, let's just do it this way. And
That's
so a lot
balance.
of times, it's a great balance. A lot of times we're thinking of solutions. There was something only about a month ago we were building out, and I'm like, no, I can think of a good way to do that, and I built it really quickly, and it was not perfect. It was not the right solution. It wasn't the right data model, but it presented well. It looked easy to do. And my business partner was like, wow, the way I was thinking about this was way more complex, right? And I'm like, and your way might be correct in the long run. Let's get it moving.
Right. Yep. First principles. Start there.
So I think that's probably picking the right partner is a really, really important one as well.
Good point.
If you're both exactly the same, maybe that's not going to work out. Maybe you do need to have these differing views and opinions and approaches, and you blend well together.
Okay, Chris, can you talk a little bit about where, in this day and age, where human judgment and AI or automation are finding balance in this space?
Yeah, AI is an interesting discussion when it comes down to this stuff, because we are like, my partner and I, we're looking at it and using it every day, right? So we definitely use it to be able to run a small shop very, very efficiently. There's a bit of AI in there in our back end operations of how we do things. How our customers are looking at it is interesting in the finance space, because there's this risk of, people can vibe code their own applications now, just tell it what they want, and here it is, and they've got it, and they've got to run it. So in a way, I think what's happening is it's more cementing our model from the beginning, that partnership model that we are. So I think this AI push is going to help us in the way that we do things, rather than companies that are just creating software. Like if you're creating true value in partnerships like that, I think we can fend off that risk of the AI side. But as far as, I'm trying to think of your question a little bit more around utilization of it.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, you're talking about building a moat around your business from knockoffs, I guess.
Yeah, I say that we're human intelligence, right? Because together with them, with our partner and us, we can think of ideas that we can help build out for them. Yeah, we might use AI to help. Or how do we craft this? What's the best data model? Those back end types of things we will use. We've been looking at how do we put AI in our product, like everybody has, right? But I don't want to just throw it in there for the sake of it, and then it's just some kind of afterthought. So there's going to be lots of different change going on with that that we need to keep our eye on. But I've been talking more about our human intelligence and how we can work together, to do it, rather than the AI side. So it's gonna be interesting how that goes.
Being full time now, it's got to be exciting. What does growth look like for EZCIP from here?
Yeah, we've had actually steady growth for even before I was full time. To be honest with you, we've been growing pretty strongly. But now it's now I think we're going to accelerate. Obviously I can spend a lot more time with our customers, and so we're looking to improve our customer retention. I don't like talking about customers that way, but helping customers more, like use our product more, add new features in, expand a little bit like that. But we still want to really focus on our niche. We've gone out of our niche a little bit for our customers every now and then, because pretty much if they want, Infinite Data was built around, if you want something built, you can do it in a spreadsheet. We'll do it in the web for you, right? So we've expanded. We do grants management now for some of our customers. We do things like bonds, managing bonds. We do things like, we've even built full budget systems for some customers that we're doing budgets in spreadsheets. But we don't want to be that big ERP budget system, right? We want to stick in our niche. And people choose us because we can customize things that they need. So we want to stay there. And so the interesting thing is, how do you scale that, right? You've got two very involved very involved founders that are getting their hands dirty. And when we've grown, but when we grow even bigger, how do we scale that speed and agility? That's going to be one of our real challenges moving forward.
Right.
And
I think you're well positioned, right? I mean, with the technology coming behind you, you're kind of going to be able to ride that wave because you're already in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about, like, as AI evolves, right? You'll hear them talking about, there's going to be $1 billion 2-person company, right? They're saying things like this out there in the thing, and it's AI is allowing us to do a lot of things faster in the back end and to manage the company. But as you know, like, as every customer you bring on, there's a responsibility to each one of them, and that's going to be really that's really where I've been focusing, is bringing new sales in, but obviously also touching base with our customers. I've been on customer visits over the last couple of months, meeting them in person and making sure that they're happy, talking to them about the product, introducing new ideas, thoughts, that kind of thing. So that's really what my focus is going to be in this first year.
Okay, excellent. For someone listening who works in a city or county or utility or school district, right, and they're still buried in spreadsheets or whatever, right? What's the first steps they should take?
Yeah, the first steps they should do is just gather all their information in a spreadsheet, right? That's always a good first step. I built actually an XLS tool for that, believe it or not. So I put it on our website, so you can actually go to EZCIP.com and download that tool, and it gives you some of the basic structure of how you capture that information. But then that's only going to take you so far, right? You can send that to someone like us, you can send it to us, and we'll create like a web component of that, a POC for you, a little proof of concept for free that you can just log in and have a look at. And then from there, it's very easy to go live. Like, you pretty much have an environment already, and then we go live and we just configure what your need is. And we'll walk you through that process. And we've had customers that have gone from, I've got some sort of spreadsheet, to go live, including a customer portal where people can go online and see a live CIP within 2 weeks. We've had it, like, literally
nice.
Go from nothing to launch in 2 weeks. And we have some customers that meet with us, and it's like, how long, how long can you do that? And we're like, well, it really depends on how fast you engage back with us. We can do this in a couple of weeks. And they sort of laugh at us. And that's one thing we've learned, is like, sometimes the speed that we can move can scare some people, because they're so used to these long implementation life cycles. And, so sometimes we'll have to adapt back and become a little slower, just to gain that trust, right, and commitment.
Drag your feet just so they don't get
exactly, just a little bit,
overwhelmed.
Yeah. But we try and bring them along in our new model. Like, oh no, let's get it up running really quickly, and then we can adapt from there and add a bit on later. And so we see people loving that approach.
Excellent. All right, Chris. Well, if people would like to connect with you or learn more about EZCIP, where can they go? What should they do? Yeah,
EZCIP.com is the easiest way. We have it. You can just chat with us directly right there. If you go on there now, jump on chat, I'll be connecting with you right away. So that's the easiest way. There's also a phone number and emails on there as well, if you prefer those methods of communication. But that's definitely the easiest way. Touch base with me on LinkedIn as well, Chris Mills, EZCIP, and we can have a conversation and get moving.
All right, sounds great. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Chris Mills, for joining me today. Appreciate you sharing your insights into the space.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.